Okay, so as I go through this, you know, you guys know, most of you guys know how I am. If I'm going through this, you got any questions about anything, unmute yourself, ask the question, because I want to make sure everybody understands what's going on. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and get started. I won't take up too much of you guys' time. Okay, good. Okay, so anyway, we're talking about the temporary suspension of certain statutes that Governor Abbott instituted yesterday, April 8th. So on April 8th, 2020, Governor Greg Abbott temporarily suspended certain statutes to allow for appearance before a notary public via video conference to execute a self-proved will, a durable power of attorney, a medical power of attorney, a directive to physician, or an oath of an executor, administrator, or guardian. Okay, now this is just temporary. And so video conferencing is just like we're doing now with GoToMeeting. So this is separate from getting an online notary commission. Okay. Any Texas notary can do these video conference as long as you are currently a current commissioned Texas notary. You can notarize these documents via video conference. Okay. Now they have set some guidelines for doing this. So this suspension will remain in effect until terminated by the office of the governor or until the March 13th, 2020 disaster declaration is lifted or expires. Let me go back. Documents executed while this suspension is in effect and in accordance with its terms will remain valid after the termination of this suspension.
Hello.
Okay? So again, this is for current commission notaries in Texas. This is something that is temporary and it can
Hello.
be done. We hear you, Richard. We've already started. This is something that can be done video conference. Okay, any notary, any Texas notary can complete this. Okay, and these are the documents that it covered. And so let me see. So what I did was I contacted the Texas Secretary of State office to find out, I just came up with a list of questions because like I said, I want to make sure that notaries understand what this entails. Okay. Oh, also, I'm sorry, I left out one thing. Let me go back to this right quick. Go to the Texas Secretary of State's website. One part I did leave out was their instructions on doing this. Okay, so let me see. So right here it tells you guys can see my screen, that the following conditions will now apply. So a notary shall verify the identity of a person signing a document at the time the signature is taken by using a two-way video and audio conference technology. So, just like we're doing now, on right now we're using GoToMeeting, so you can use Zoom or whatever you have available, and you can verify their ID to notarize those 4 documents that were listed. Okay. Now, and all they have to do is just put their ID up to the camera for you to see it, and you need to be able to see that that's that person, their address, their expiration date of their ID, and all of that information, just like if you were physically um, looking at their ID, so you could annotate all of that stuff in your journal and make sure that it's not expired. Okay, a notary public may verify identity by personal knowledge of the signing person. So if it's somebody that you know, then you can ID them that way. You don't have to have them show you a government issued ID. Or by analysis based on the signing person's remote presentation of a government issued identification credential, including so they could use the government issued ID, a passport, or a driver's license, as long as it contains the signature and photograph of the person. Now, the signing person your signer, they will have to transmit by either fax or electronic means a legible copy of the signed document to the Notary Public. So either they can email it to you. So after they sign the document, either they can email it to you or they can fax it to you. Okay? So a legible copy of the signed document to the Notary Public, who may notarize the transmitted copy and then transmit the notarized copy back to the signing person by fax or electronic means, at which point the notarization is valid. So the signer signs the document and they can fax it to you or scan it and email it to you with their signature on it. Once you get it, you're going to use your regular notary stamp it, fill out the notarial certificate, stamp it, and either fax it or email it back to them. And any Texas Commission notary can do this. Does everybody understand? Okay, we're not finished. I just wanted to show you guys that part. Okay. So this can be done for self-ruled wills, durable power of attorneys, medical power of attorneys, and directive to physicians. So this is only for these documents. Okay. And I contacted the Secretary of State and asked them, did it only apply to these 4 documents? And their answer was a little vague at first, but finally they did say that they think it only applies to the 4 documents listed. So I wouldn't try it on any other documents. Okay. So as a commission Texas Notary Public, these are the 4 documents that you can notarize without being an online commission notary. I also asked them what is meant by an oath of an executor, administrator, or guardian, because that is something else that they said that can be done via video conferencing. And he said that executors, administrators, and guardians typically take oaths of office when they begin their official duties. So this means that we can that the notary can actually administer an oath also via video conference.
But only for those situations?
But only for those. He didn't say for executors, administrators, and guardians. Typically, he didn't say for only those situations.
Okay.
So, it's like we kind of take everything that was said literally, because the way they answered the questions for me, they just basically went by what was written in the governor's suspension. So I asked them, are notarizations under these conditions considered remote online notarizations? Uh, and they answered the Texas online notarization statutes do not, in general, use the word remote, although that term is very descriptive and is used in other states. If your question is, do these notarizations conform to the Texas online notary statutes, I think the answer is no. So if you want to become a commissioned online notary so you can do more than just the 4 documents that are listed, then you should go ahead and proceed with that process. But if you're comfortable being a commissioned Texas notary and being able to do the 4 documents that are listed, this is something that you can start doing now. Do notaries who use these methods of notarization need to be commissioned online notaries? No, I don't see anywhere in the suspension language about online notaries. So again, to notarize those 4 documents, you do not have to be a commissioned online notary. How much can a notary public charge for providing the services outlined by Governor Abbott's suspension notice? And can administrative fees be charged? The fees traditional notaries are authorized to charge are found in section. So basically what they're saying is you can only charge what's listed by the Texas Secretary of State when you're doing notarizations as a traditional notary. If you're doing notarizations as a commissioned online notary, then you can charge the fees authorized for commissioned online notaries. So if you are notarizing the signature on one's durable power of attorney, then you can charge $6 if you are a traditional Texas Notary Public. And this is the person that I contacted and answered all my questions. His name is Robert M. Summers. He's the Director of Government Filings of the Office of the Secretary of State, and his number and his email address. Okay, do I have any questions about anything I went over? No questions from.
Phyllis, this is Regina. I have a question.
Uh-huh.
So, does that mean that the person who you are notarizing, the document that, because sometimes when people need to use, like, let's say a power of attorney or something like that, do they have to have the original copy? Like, so will the copies work for what people need those documents for?
That is not up to us to decide.
Okay.
Yeah, we cannot tell people you can use this and it's going to work.
I have a disclaimer when I do an online notarization on a power of attorney, and I tell them that the signature is secure, but the only original document they have is the PDF that I get. When they print it, that's only a copy, so they need to check with people who might need them or use them, like banks. But I don't in any way insinuate that this is going to be as good as a wet signed and stamped document.
Yeah, I do the same thing when I do my online notarizations. When they make their appointment, there's a statement there letting them know that certain uh, they need to check with the receiving authority to make sure that they will accept an electronically signed document. Because it's up to them to check to make sure that the receiving end is going to accept that. So
And
go ahead.
I'm sorry, Phyllis.
Go ahead.
And one thing, this is Regina, one thing that brings to mind with this is that, and this is just an example that I'm using because I'm from Atlanta, but when my sister and I had power of attorney when my mom was ill, and there was some issue going on with somebody stealing her identity at the IRS, they wouldn't even take our power of attorney at all. They told us we had to go through getting some other type of form done and filled out and notarized. So it just brought to mind that, even the regular power of attorney form may not even be enough just in general for whatever you're trying to do.
Mm-hmm. That's true. You just never know. So that's a good point. So we cannot guarantee that the receiving authority is going to accept those electronic signatures and that the notarization the way it is. But it looks like from what just by reading this, it looks like well, no, it's still these are all copies, so you're not getting wet signatures.
Yeah, and there's no mention of witnesses.
Uh,
There's usually a witness on the self-proving affidavit.
no witness, nothing saying anything about witnesses. And I asked them about witnesses, even about witnesses for doing online notarizations as a commissioned online notary. And nobody could give me a straight answer on using witnesses with remote notarizations either. So I'm not even gonna with my remote notarizations. I've already decided I'm not using witnesses. If something needs to be witnessed, I'm not doing it. They need to find another way to get it done because I'm not gonna.
I agree, Phyllis. Some things are just too much extra
Yeah,
of a headache.
yeah. It's not even worth it. You know, because this came straight from one of the attorneys at the Texas Secretary of State's office. So I said, you know what? I'm not even going to do it. Since you told me that, I'm just going to leave it alone. So I'm just sharing all of this information with you because, all of this remote notarization, online notarization, all of this stuff is new and it's very fluid. All the information that we get is very fluid. We get new information about it constantly. So if it's something that you're going to do, something that you're thinking about doing, do your due diligence, do your research, be careful. Okay, don't make any assumptions. And our governing body is the Texas Secretary of State. So don't be afraid to ask them questions because when it comes down to it and you do something wrong, you cannot use the excuse I didn't know.
Oh yeah.
you know. So just, I mean, I know right now this online notarization is a big thing, but it's not something for you to rush into. And as I find out additional information about stuff that's going on, I'll continue to share it. I'm recording this video, so I'm going to upload it to the Texas Notary Public Training Academy. If you guys come up with any questions or anything else you guys want to discuss, um, have a video conference about, shoot me an email and we'll do it. Okay? Any other questions?
Able to do ours by myself. Hi, this is Jacqueline.
Uh-huh.
Do we have to have a copy of their ID or passport, whatever we're using, as a protection for ourselves because of the online notarization?
Nope. We don't have to have a copy of it. Now, if you're doing the online notarizations that Governor Abbott has given us authority to do under his suspension notice, you don't have to have a copy of their ID. Now, if you're doing online notarizations as a Texas notary, as a commissioned Texas online notary, you don't have to have a copy of their ID. However, as a commissioned online notary, when you are verifying their ID, then you have to use a third party ID, a third party system to verify their ID. And it's a two-step system. You have to, the ID itself has to be verified, and then they have to answer at least five knowledge-based authentication questions.
Okay, I understand. Thank you.
Yeah, so it's weird. It's so different. I mean, I'm still trying to wrap my mind around the online commission notary having to go through that process to ID a signer, but a traditional notary can ID a signer just by holding up their ID to the camera.
This is Regina. I have another question. What would that look like in our journal? How would we, what would we do as far as not getting the signature on the journal, and what would, how would it look in our journal based on what, the one pertaining to what the governor has approved?
Well, the way I would log it in my journal is, number one, in Texas, we're not required to get signatures in our journal.
Oh, good, because I've missed a couple anyway. I mean, I'm just,
Yeah,
I'm just telling you this.
You don't have to have the signature. So you good. But I would put extensive notes as to how that particular notarization took place in my journal. You still gonna annotate how you identified that person. If you know them, if you personally know them, if they use a government issued ID, driver's license, military ID, you're still going to do that. You're still going to list the person's mailing address. You're still going to list the form, so, and I would list that it was done, the transaction took place via video conferencing.
Okay.
That's what I would do.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And one thing I wanted to suggest, if anybody does do this, is that you mail back your stamped page to the signer, just so they have it, with the rest of the documents. So they're going to have their wet signed page that they scanned, and then they're going to have your wet signed and stamped page in the package. That's what I would do. It's just a suggestion. It's not any I gleaned from all of the non-information that was provided.
And that's, that's totally up to you guys if you guys want to mail them back that stamped copy. That is good customer service, providing them that copy. Okay, any other questions? So I just wanted to share that information with you guys.
Thank
Something
you.
else to think about.
I have a question.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so the document, well, I'm sorry, the documents that are saying we are able to notarize online.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not understanding, is that different from remote online notarization?
Yes, it is. Because any
Okay.
notary you don't have to be a commissioned online notary to notarize this document. But it's only 4 different documents that you can do this with. Okay, he only gave you the authority to notarize 4 documents, 4 different documents.
Okay.
Okay, and you are just sending the documents back and forth to each other either through email or through fax.
Okay. I was trying to wrap my mind around it.
You trying to wrap your mind around it?
Yeah, because it's so, everything is changing every day.
Yeah. And so just keep in mind that you can only do four documents, and you can
Okay.
only charge the same amount that you can charge doing a regular notarization.
Okay. Because, yeah, of course, you're not traveling to them. Okay.
Exactly.
And so you do still get the oath and everything, correct?
You're still going to give the oath and everything.
Okay, gotcha.
Okay. And you're still going to annotate all of that information in your notary journal.
Okay.
Okay.
All righty. Thank you.
You're welcome. So, any other questions?
I feel this.
Yes.
Just wanted to add that from a new notary perspective and still learning myself, just keep in mind this is all temporary. So even as an experience, for those that are experienced, to try to figure all this out, and it could be over, right? So the goal is that by the time the month ends and we come through this will disappear as quick as it came. And even listening to other notaries that they're trying to keep up with the changes they constantly are opening up or suspending new laws or rules. So just for myself, speaking for myself, I'm going to tell you that I'm still learning, even though I've been out there and I've been in close contact with both Phyllis and Valerie as well. I've opted out to do the online notarization to not confuse my training of loan signing and the general notary work with the confusion of trying to learn to be online and putting out that extra effort. And not only that, the money that you could put into training and equipment versus what you would spend to go. It's like $300 to $500 to get remote online. And again, just remember, all this is temporary. I guess like she said that she was trying to wrap her mind around it. I guess is don't get wrapped up in and this is something long term to do. I guess what I want to say in a nutshell.
But
if that makes sense.
Yeah, but to do remember now, don't confuse this with remote online notarization
Exactly.
either. Now, this is not something you're going to have to spend a whole lot of money on to get started, because this is not remote online notarizations. This is just like what we're doing right now, video conferencing. That's the only thing you have to do, and check their IDs. Okay, this is not remote online notarization. And to check their IDs, the only thing they have to do is just show you that ID to the camera. Okay, so that's a big difference. And they're going to either email you or fax you the document. Everybody already has email. And you notarize it and email it or fax it back to them. So while this is temporary, they have found a need for this. Believe me, I get calls because I'm an online notary, and Valerie can attest to this. I get calls all day long, constantly calls and emails to notarize documents online. And a lot of them I'm doing are the different powers of attorneys, the ones that were listed by the governor. So anyway, I just wanted to share that with you guys. If you have any other questions, let me know. Otherwise, I'm going to get ready for Primetime Notaries webinar. So I hope to see
Yep.
if we have any over 50 notaries on here. I hope to see you on the Primetime Notaries webinar. Okay. Hey, Ramika. Okay, bye,
All
you
right.
guys.
Bye bye. Thank you.
Bye, Michelle, Linda,
Thank you.
I'll see you
Sharon.
tomorrow with the for the training tomorrow.
Who is that? Tree?
Yes.
Tree, our training is Saturday.
You know what? My bad. I mean Saturday. My days just keep running to each other.
Okay, Tree, I'll see you Saturday, okay?
Okay.
Okay. Bye.
Ms. Traylor, really quickly,
Yeah.
for the training on Saturday, are we going to need to print any documents on legal size paper?
Yes, girl. You're gonna
Okay,
have a lot of
got it.
documents. I'm gonna see you
Okay,
tomorrow to print the documents. I'm trying to decide if I wanted. I was trying to decide if I was going to send like one big package or like separate little smaller packages. So I'm still trying to decide how to upload them. But you're gonna
okay,
have plenty of stuff to print.
okay.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. See you Saturday.
Have a good one.
Okay.
Okay,
You too.
bye-bye.
Bye bye.